Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my The Last of Us Remastered Left Behind DLC Grounded difficulty walkthrough. This is the single player expansion for the main game. There was just one released, and this tells us Ellie's story, her backstory, how she got infected or how she got bit because she's immune to the infection. And also a little bit about her relationship with her friend Riley, and also fills in the gap in the story of the main game between the university and the lakeside resort, because this is what transpired between those two sections. Because as you may remember, Joel got a rebar right through him, so Ellie is on a quest through this shopping center to try to find a first aid kit with some sutures and antibiotics and all that good stuff, so she can patch him up and continue onwards on their journey towards the Fireflies.
First aid kit.
And finding a first aid kit is the main focus of the expansion, aside from telling you the story of Ellie, of course. So we start off in this little pharmacy. We have got a combination to the toy store next to it, because apparently the pharmacist got infected and ran in there for some reason.
Of course.
I'm gonna die, so I'm gonna get some toys. So before you leave the pharmacy, try to loot through the shelves, see if you can find anything useful. If you're playing this on Grounded, don't get your hopes up, because just like in the main game, resources are very scarce and they are really cheap towards us. But never fear, I will help you as much as I can, and we will manage the few resources we have to get through this, which hopefully shouldn't present too much of a problem. I think that this DLC is actually a bit easier than the main game. The only really hard part is the last fight, the grand fight at the end of this expansion. And other than that, it's quite stealth based. You can stealth through most of the fights of this game, or use your stealth abilities to your advantage at least. And also they've added a new dynamic to the fighting, which I will get more into later on in this walkthrough. But it's a great addition, I think, to the gameplay, because you sometimes end up in situations which contain both hunters and infected, and you can play them against each other. And I make a little mistake there. I was a bit too quick out from the toy shop, so that clicker grabbed me. And you always say there's a first time for everything. That was the first time for me. I didn't even know that could happen, because I usually just sit here at the entrance to the shop and wait for him to move past, which I do now. And I didn't know he could actually grab you if you got too close to it too soon. So that's a good thing to know, because this is usually what happens. I sit there and I wait for him to go past it, and I sneak behind him and stab him. Because as we all know, Ellie has a switchblade, so she can always do stealth takedowns on clickers. She doesn't have to build knives like Joel does. So she is a bit more powerful than Joel when it comes to the stealth takedowns. But the drawback of having that switchblade is that her stealth takedowns aren't completely silent. They do make some noise, so if you're too close to enemies, you can get caught. But this is the second fight, not against the cat, but against some stalkers in this old flooded garage. And I'm gonna abuse the programming. As you may have seen in my The Last of Us main game videos, I love abusing the programming when I can. And we're here to try to start this generator so we can get through a door, and as you can see it's out of gas, and we're gonna have to siphon some gas from one of the trucks. But when you go down to try to siphon the gas, there are 4 stalkers spawning into this area. And the door you came in through is actually an invisible wall. And we are gonna use that to our advantage to make this a lot easier as you come into the choppiest transition in the history of gaming. Stand by in 3, 2, 1. Thank you. That's some horrible editing on my part, but I couldn't find a way to do it better because I failed my first attempt at this. So I had to do it. Sorry for that. So anyway, stand over by this doorway and have a brick or a bottle in handy. And as soon as a stalker comes running towards you, throw the brick in their face, stab them, and run out of this room. The stalkers can't follow you. For some reason they can't leave that room, and that is something that we are gonna use to our advantage. And it makes us omnipotent and ever so powerful. So just run back out into this main room and pick up a bottle, apparently, and run back in, and we're gonna take down the next one. Just go over these little hurdles. She's practicing for the Olympics in post-apocalyptica. I think Ellie would be great in the Olympics. So we come back into the room, wait for another one, throw a bottle, stab, and we rinse and repeat. Pick up some ammo bullets. Some ammo bullets. Wow. Some bullets or some ammo. It's like saying there's an unwed bachelor. So once again we venture into this main room and try to find another brick or bottle. There we have one. And we go back once more. This is rinse and repeat. Basic stuff which you can take on this fight, all guns blazing, try to go in there and shoot the stalkers, but that makes it unnecessarily difficult, it's unnecessarily risky, so it's best to just use the bad programming to your advantage. So we stab the third one, we have a nice little stack of corpses right by the door, and we head back out one last time to get one more bottle of brick so we can take down the last of the stalkers. And as I mentioned before, I hate the stalker enemy. They are not very common in the game, but I think they can be a real nuisance because they never attack you when you watch them. They are very sneaky and they always try to flank you, and when they start running towards you, you realize these are some fast motherfuckers. They will hunt you down like it's Christmas for everybody. And that sentence made no sense. Anywho, going back in for the last kill. And we end up in a little bit of a waiting game. You see me standing right by the door. I want to be able to run back out immediately in case he manages to get the drop on me. Apparently I can't talk anymore either. And at this point I think he's sitting behind a generator. You can see a little bit of his head peeking out. And I wasn't quite sure where he was. I didn't see him at this point, so I was just wondering, like, is he at the other end of the garage, or where is he? So I venture a bit further in, and then I realize, there you are, Uggo. So we take him, head on, I think. Yes, here he comes. He gets way too close for comfort, but we persevere and we conquer them all. So after you've taken them out, Ellie says something like, "Is that it?" and start looting through the garage. And this is at the end of the garage section.
Yeah.
You start the generator and the water gets electrocuted and you have to crawl across the beams in the ceiling to get out. Now for this area. I hate this area because that clicker over there, his hearing is very weird. Sometimes he can hear you a mile away, and sometimes he seems to be totally deaf because, as you can see, there's a runner over here to the left, which I'm gonna try to stab. And I've had instances where I've stabbed him, the clicker isn't even in the room, and for some reason he came running directly. So be very careful. I think there might be a programming error, or maybe it's just me having bad luck and not being as skilled a gamer as I hope I am, as I want to be at least. So after you've taken them down and programming has worked as it's supposed to and the clicker hasn't heard anything, you play the waiting game. With the clicker, there is some waiting in this DLC. Sometimes you're gonna have to sit around, wait for them to get into the position where you want them to be, because, as I said, Ellie's stealth takedown isn't completely silent, so you're gonna have to take your opportunity, choose your moments when you do it. But that went great. And down he went, and now we have 2 runners and 1 clicker left in this big room. One of the runners is over there, the other one is over by the door we wanna get out through, and the clicker is walking back and forth. And as you know, clickers are very dangerous and runners are even more dangerous, because runners are faster and runners can still see. So the runners should be your main priority to take out first. As long as you don't make any noise or stay out of his line of sight, so to speak, even though he's blind when he does that clicking sound, he shouldn't know you're there. So we take down the first runner, everything goes according to plan, and I'm gonna try to focus on the clicker, I think. I know I just said that you should focus on the runners first, but I don't always practice what I preach. And once again, I'm playing the waiting game, and I'm gonna try to advance up towards him. I think I'm gonna go around this shelf. But something goes wrong here. And not quite sure what happened, because you can see the passive runner over there. You can see the clicker over there, and for some reason they noticed me. I was in no one's line of sight, I was hidden behind the shelves, but suddenly the game just thought, well, this is going too smoothly. So now we're gonna make you shit your pants and run for your life. So we do the old brick toss at the runner, and the clicker is coming in after us. I just mantle over this window and head back into the main room, because he has already lost track of me. He has no idea where I am. So I wait, and to minimize any risk, I'm gonna do the old brick and stab. So throw a brick in the face, stab him, down he goes, and you're done. And now we are moving back out into where we picked up the bottles
Hell out of here.
for the garage fight, because we need to start the generator to power up a metal gate so we can get up the escalators and continue up to a helicopter that has crashed down through the roof. And that is very easy if you are very fast. So after some quick scavenging through the shelves where I find nothing but a brick, we are gonna continue onwards. And as soon as you get through this door, start running. You see the green light at the powered up door. Run towards that as soon as you can, because we have some infected spawning in and they will be after you. So just press this button, the door opens, and start running up the escalators and make a right, because they are after you. And if you go to the left and duck down, they will lose track of you, and you can find some collectibles if you want to go for the collectible trophy. But afterwards, head for this, because they can't climb. And we jump over to the helicopter, it starts collapsing, and that is the end of part 1 of 3 parts to this video. I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.